Hello, every one of you. This is my 20th episode with you. I want to note that you can find me first on DianaHudgens.com. You can also find me on Apple and Google Podcast, on Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, and about every social media platform that there is. Simply search for my name or this podcast, Life, It's a Big Faith Journey. So now on to business of wishing you a very blessed Thanksgiving, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year, everyone. In podcast 18, I spoke about gearing ourselves toward our New Year's resolutions a bit ahead of time and adding in more joy and less stress into our holiday season. I felt it deserved a bit more attention, so I wanted to go a bit further into this podcast. Here we are into the holiday season, a time for family and friends. No desire at all for drama, but find it so oftentimes hard to accommodate everyone's wishes. Am I right? It's such a busy time, and there is so much time spent planning and shopping and preparing ourselves to find that it's all gone and over with in a matter of what seems like moments. Completely gone overall in a day or two. Feeling rushed and frustrated and tired most of the time. During the season, who in the world would find time to simply enjoy this time of year? You are. I have some tips for you today to make your holiday season a more positive one. The question keeps coming up about whether or not you have to put up your Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving. I say, oh well, why not combine the both? After all, I think we need to be thankful. We need to learn to be thankful for what we already have as we go into a time of giving and receiving. Have you ever heard the saying that we should have Christmas all year? That we should feel like Christmas is each and every day. That spirit should be the same theme of our life throughout the year. What people need to realize is this comes from your heart, not your pocketbook. It comes from your peace and your joy, not your stress level or your need to impress anyone. I am reminding you to shake all that off and to be free. People place way too much pressure on themselves during this time of year. Now, last year, I decided to stop doing that. You know, there is always those questions that you ask others when it comes to planning times and dates and all that stuff that you're trying to do to get together. And still you have to wait to get the answers nailed down about who's coming here and who's going where and when. Since people have to accommodate both sides of the family, and when you multiply from a smaller family to a larger one, you find that, the numbers grow in families. What to do? And kiddos may have to go to one parent's house or the other's. So again, what to do? The case in our family has always been what I call Nana's promise, that we should never celebrate without our boys. So what we have always done is in the year that they have to go to their dad's, we have Christmas close to New Year's, when they come home that next week, We simply postpone until they come back home. Now listen, there's all kinds of talk about when Jesus' birthday actually is, but all God truly cares about is celebration, being together. He isn't concerned about the day that we celebrate, because honestly, if you cannot have all of those with you that you wish to be with, then how is this truly the feeling of Christmas? So try not to make it about the day. The holiday you think you need to be together, but when you can be together. You can do something on Christmas, something that's smaller and fun. You can even volunteer to serve on that day. And then whenever you have your Christmas together with your family and or your friends, you can have a full-blown Christmas Day celebration that particular day. We do this every other year. So the other side of the family, say the in-laws, they know that this is how we do it as well. So we can alternate the days of celebration. If families are closer in distance, you can go to one family's house on Christmas Eve and the other family's house on Christmas Day. But regardless of the day and the time, you can celebrate. The holiday is about celebration, and when you decide to do it, let the Spirit live within you. Avoid the drama and creating it as much as possible. Don't make it about you and your feelings. Make it about what Christ would want for you and your family. And don't allow it to be remembered with hurtful memories. It isn't worth it, and it's all stressful. Choose to be relaxed and thankful for your family and what time that you have with them. And for example, say I'll use my daughter as an example. With her in-laws, they know this thing about us and our boys, our grandsons. And so when they're not here with us, they can celebrate and do whatever they want that year without worrying about us. And then the next year, they know that the boys will be home with us for Christmas. And so we all try to work around things. But on the Christmases that we do not have the boys, we tend to celebrate closer to New Year's. So everybody kind of knowing that, and sometimes they do forget, and we have to remind everybody, but try not to make it a big deal. Whenever they stop to think about, oh yeah, they're right, they have a schedule, and so we just simply forgot about that. So there are many ways you can work together, and try doing it ahead of time so that you have everything kind of nailed down and you know how it's going to go, so that situation in itself does not add stress to your holiday season. You can even do this with other holidays such as Thanksgiving, because it's the same way. Like this year, we do not have the boys. They are with their dads. So next holiday, which is Christmas, we have the boys. And then on New Year's, they have the boys. So we just try our best to work that way. And, it can also be celebrated with the other side of the family on a Friday or a Saturday when it comes to Thanksgiving, instead of a Thursday, because sometimes that's just too much eating. And that's just too much time. And it's kind of hard, especially if you have little children. So just try to work it out. That's kind of how we had planned this year, because the boys were with their dads and certain people are working and things like that. So we just decided, hey, we're going to do a Friday night, So you can also alternate lunch times with dinner times. You can spend lunchtime with a family, one side of the family, and then the other side of the family, you can do dinner time. Or you can just alternate every other year with families. There's a few different ways you can really work this out. And that works especially if you have to travel. You do not have to have the same type of foods either each year. See, we live in the Southwest, so we tend to have Mexican foods most usually at Christmas time or New Year's. And we usually have way too much food. So learn how to tone it down on all the leftovers. So if there are going to be any kind of food shortages this year that they're talking about, I know that some areas of our country are experiencing it more than others. So it's probably best to plan not to have so much, and maybe just introduce some other kinds of foods that are not so traditional, simply due to the lack of availability. But your overall goal is not to allow drama to ruin the beautiful memories that you can make. If you only decide not to allow drama to present itself, let your plans be known. Attempt to be accommodating as well, and yet set a deadline to have those plans, as I said, set in stone for the year and the next year. You will have a bit more time to just plan ahead, to be thinking about it. Therefore, this year, you may need to be a bit more flexible since the holidays are upon us. Do not allow yourself to be overwhelmed with all of the work. It's okay to make a list with who has agreed to bring what. It's a good time to allow family members to help, and that includes the cleanup. Families have usually some sort of traditions going on that they always do, but don't be afraid to add new traditions as well. Life is always changing, and new family members are being added. Embrace change and allow some change to be a more positive move for your family. It's all in your attitude, and your attitude sets the tone for how your family is going to feel about things. So make it a positive one. With inflation as well as availability on gift giving, I would not put such an emphasis on feeling that you have to try and buy a lot. Try some homemade gifts as well. There are a lot of them. Utilize many gift-making ideas and create your own. Take pictures and have them put on canvases. They have some really awesome prices. Or you can also put some of those pictures in frames for your gift giving. Let me tell you, YouTube and Pinterest have many gift giving ideas. Just do a search for those kinds of things. After these past couple of years, I want to encourage you to give more of your time spent with one another, talking and sharing and doing things together to make this season more memorable than those before. Let it be you. Let it be you that makes one of those things that people will remember because of the love of Christ. You set the standard. You lead the pack of this family in how to be and how to spread the joy and the love this holiday season, and let it continue through this next new year. So take the time to celebrate the season by spending time with one another. Special other nights throughout this season, nights that have things that you do together, such as set aside a night that you're going to build a fire, that you're going to drink hot chocolate and tell Christmas stories, or sing Christmas carols and watch Christmas movies. Help one another decorate your homes. All the while you're baking those cookies and those treats, and serve somewhere. Distribute goodies, those goodies that you've made. Distribute them to your neighbors. Make little packaged up gifts, and let your children help and learn and enjoy that time of being together. And remember when we did this? Those moments will be secure into your future. Do some potluck gatherings with those that you want to spend time with. Don't put it all on yourself. Let everyone contribute. Do whatever you think of to spend time with one another, like even gift wrapping night. And drive around looking at those lights. Even window shopping, just for the opportunity to see Santa and everyone else walking around in the spirit of the holidays at the mall. Now, I'm not sure how things are this season on the topic of getting out and about where you might be, but where we live, we are doing all of those things. Get together and write out Christmas cards. Christmas cards are not nearly as popular as they used to be. Take a moment on each of them to write something special to that person, not just your signature. Because let me tell you something. People love reading something more from you. At Thanksgiving, come prepared with a list of things that you are most thankful for, and ask your children to do the same. Help teach them the spirit of thankfulness. Make your children a part of all of the preparations for the holidays. Show them ways to be thoughtful to others, and make a list if you need to. But know that it is important to have that list, to be able to share that with one another. Because you see, my mother always said that if we do not keep our traditions and we do not spend time with our family, the next generation will not find the importance of any of it. The next generation won't know how to carry on these traditions, and they will lose touch with the importance of family. So do not lose your grasp on keeping family traditions intact. Cousins won't stay connected. Instead of family, those cousins will just become someone that they know. And that's not right. But it's up to you parents to give them the gift of family and connection. It is your responsibility. Teach them to carry on. Show them how you are thoughtful and helpful as well so that they see how it's supposed to be. You are the ones that they are mostly observing and learning from. So be mindful to know you are their number one teacher. You are the hero, the mentor. They learn the important things in life from you. Embrace one another and show love. I have always said some people do not get hugged very often, and they need to feel the touch and the embrace of another. This is one of the things that through this pandemic has been so hard for so many. They need to be touched. They need to be embraced. They need to feel valued and loved. My son once heard me say that it's important to remember to hug our adult children often, and most especially if they are single. You see, because if they're not in a relationship, they're not experiencing these things. So always keep that in mind when thinking of your adult children. Just be a loving, kind person anyhow. Because most likely, these children, they're rarely hugged and they're rarely told that they're loved. And he said that I was absolutely correct and that it was important to him. When everyone who is going to be at your home on the holiday is present, yet some of your family is missing, like they live somewhere else, I suggest that you do some FaceTime or Facebook Video Messenger or Amazon's Echo Show, or use the Skype app, or other kinds if you want to see one another when you're all together and when you can talk. It's fun. Facebook Messenger will also work all over the world and not cost you a thing. And of course, you can always give a Marco Polo free app a try. That way, you can go back and forth. It's not a live thing. Now, you can watch them live, but you can't respond to them until they're done. You can send them a Marco Polo back. It's like the game. So that's also a great thing to do. And the old devil has sure spent a majority of his time trying to destroy families. This is also a great time to think and share and to make some resolutions for the new year together. Make some commitments to spend more time with one another and helping one another as you strengthen your families. And tell that old devil to take that. But that there are many things that you can say no to. You don't have to always be the hostess. Sometimes not only do you need the break away from all of these kinds of things going on, but you need to allow someone else to step up to the plate, for one day they too will have to in leading this family of yours. So think of ways to be kinder, more thoughtful, and helpful to others. Look at the time that you spend doing these things to be a time well spent. Use your words to encourage like you never have before. The best gift that you can give someone is your words of encouragement, your compliment of the good things about what someone else does, and encourage them in the areas of those things and in their talents. Help motivate them forward in life by doing this. This is the most memorable gift that you can give them because you see, they may not always remember what you did for them, but they will remember what you've said to them. They may not remember what you gave them, but they will always remember your words. Let that be the gift that keeps on giving to them. Ask your kiddos, what do they want to do this holiday season? Ask them to make a list of things. If it happens to be an overwhelming list, which it usually is, ask them to pick a set number of things that you can do during this time. The same way with the list of the gifts that they may want, because they can be overwhelming as well, and they can narrow them down, and you can ask them to narrow that list down. One year, my husband made my daughter a big wooden, basic dollhouse. And then, we could add a lot of different things to it along the way. That was kind of a neat thing to look forward to. And, she really loved this dollhouse. And she said that one of her most fond memories was that it was her and I playing Barbies with this dollhouse. You see, your time, you see how spending that time with your kids is much more important than what you can imagine. That gift that maybe wasn't everything that maybe they wanted, but because you played with them with that gift, that made that gift even more special. Now, another thing that families like to do is decorating together. It can be a lot of fun whenever you do it together. I don't really like decorating when I have to do it by myself. Now, there was some time whenever we used our woodworking skills and we made a praying, kneeling Santa with his bag of toys beside him. It was a wonderful representation of the traditional world and the true meaning of Christmas combined. I shared with you in episode 18 how we made a Texas tumbleweed Christmas tree and how it was the most beautiful tree that we had ever had. We stacked 3 tumbleweeds together like building a snowman, and we sprayed it gold. We put little white lights in it, and we used things that we had and things that reminded us of Texas where we lived. Now, since we lived in the land of cotton, we used cotton bowls from the fields behind our house. We topped it with a bird's nest that we had found that had blew out of a tree the spring before, and we tied red bandana bows in it. We picked little birds, little, out of the box of our decorations, we had some little fake birds, and we put those throughout the tree. And then we also made our own Texas-type decorations, such as painting Texas flags on these little wooden blank pieces of wood, using the colors of our Texas flag as well to decorate it with. This list is endless. We even made each one of our initials out of wood, but also you can buy these type of things like at Hobby Lobby and Michael's. They usually have them handy and they're really inexpensive, and so is the paint. So you can make your own decorations for your tree, for your wreaths, for all those kinds of things. Baking is always a fun family thing to do and to help teach the children and to keep them involved in learning not only their baking skills, but gift giving skills as well, as you can distribute those goodies, You see, all these things, they make the season so fun. If you find that you don't have a family close by to share your season with, there are others out there who would love to share it with you. Our family has done that a lot since it was usually just the 5 of us. And now that our family's grown, even our extended family has learned that they can invite other people to our holiday celebrations. Our family's done that a lot, and our children have learned that they could ask someone into our home without worrying or being concerned that we would be upset. But instead, we were inviting. There is always someone who greatly will accept your hospitality. There are always children out there as well that need to be your Christmas angel. In fact, there are plenty of them out there for you and your family so that you can provide for them and make their holiday season a wonderful one. And there's always an elderly person who needs to feel the love of someone else. You can contact your nursing homes. Sometimes there's people there who've been forgotten. who have nothing, who have no one to call them, no one to come see them. I know this for a fact. I had a friend that worked for a nursing home, and she said this happened a lot, and they felt lonely, and there was no one to provide them with Christmas gifts. So any of your nursing homes, you can contact them as well. Contact your church, There's plenty of families there that are in need as well. So whenever you're thinking about all the ways that you can be someone to someone in need, always be thinking and putting yourself in their shoes. Think about what it's like to be them. And then I think that your heart will open up a whole lot more, and you'll be able to do things and share yourself with those kinds of needs that people have. There's always talk about how this time of year, when suicides are up. But these past couple of years, they've also been at an all-time high. So hopefully you agree. But this is the time of year that we need to be more and more thoughtful about sharing our love and our thoughtfulness and checking in on people. And if you're one of those people feeling that sadness and all those things that go with this season, whenever people start to feel sad and lonely and just contemplating whether their life is worth it or not, it's not just this season, it's everything that's happened to us in the past couple of years. I really want to encourage you to go and listen to episode 19 of this podcast, where I have something truly special to talk to you about. You need to hear what God told me to say to you. This is a time that we set aside things. We need to set aside any judgments, and we need to learn to change and be the change that we want to see in this world. There is no better time than right now. Let us join together in making this world a much better place. And we can do it. So until next time, everyone, in everything that you do, let it come from your heart and have yourself a merry little Christmas.